it's a really big deal that y'all are here and that we're able to do this. And even just the fact that you guys are a part of this church and wanting to be a part of a church plant is totally different than being a part of a church that has a building. And honestly, something that I love about the fact that we meet at a church is that it really is constantly reminding us that the building is not what the church is. And so the more that we take on that responsibility as a church of making our services happen and even being the body and connecting with new people, that's reminding us of our identity as the church. And so, yeah, it's an honor you're here, and it really means a lot to me and a lot to Pastor Hadley and just our church. And just this time is wonderful because we actually get to focus on what we do and how we do it, because you know that on Sunday mornings that's not normally the time. And so I appreciate y'all, especially that served this morning, that have been here since 6:57. And so I'm going to try to go super quick. All I'm going to do is I'm going to talk just some vision and just give us a kind of a charge to excellence. And we've got some notes here just to be able to follow along. And then we're going to go through each of our positions in training. And then I'll keep it a surprise, but it'll be fun. And so I just want to encourage you as a volunteer, and as a volunteer myself. I don't know if you guys know that, but I don't get paid to be here. I'm a volunteer just like you, giving it my time. I work a job in downtown Dallas, 40 hours a week, 8 to 5, riding my scooter to downtown. Yeah, I'm alive. Thank you, Jesus. But just to encourage you in everything that we do, just to give your all for this family. And so John 13:35, it says, "Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." And serving for our Sunday gatherings really is loving one another. And this is us being the church, that you're serving the church. You're creating this atmosphere for people, and a lot of people that you don't even know, for them to encounter our Father God and to learn from his word. And so by serving, you are loving others. And it really is just easy and normal to just slip into the mindset that you're just doing a job and the church needs you to do it. And even worse, we can get into the mindset that you're just doing something to help out Andrew and Charity or to help out Pastor Hadley. But when we really grasp the whole picture of what God is doing in our church and in you, the way we function biblically as a church is many body parts working together. So I think I just stepped into, that's our first notes. So I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 12:14 and 21 and just kind of set this up as how we function as a church. "Yes, the body has many different parts, not just one. If the foot says, 'I am not a part of the body because I am not a hand,' that does not make it any less a part of the body. If the ear says, 'I am not a part of the body because I'm not an eye,' would that make it any less a part of the body? If the whole body were an eye, how would you hear? If your whole body were an ear, how would you smell anything? But our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part just where he wants it. How strange a body would be if it only had one part. Yes, there are many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, 'I don't need you.' The head can't say to the feet, 'I don't need you.'" So I want just that to be the foundation of what we're talking about, that our church is not about Pastor Hadley. Our church is not about Charity and Andrew. Our church is not about any specific people or even just our leaders, but everyone together makes up the body of Christ, and then we all have a function. One person can't say to another, "I'm more important than you." And so I really want us to get that as we think about what we're doing, that you're not just a helper to everything else that's going on, that you are a vital part in whatever you're doing, the ways that you're serving the church. And I also want us to keep the mindset of family at the forefront. Maybe you've heard this from me before, but I like to see our gatherings kind of with the analogy of Thanksgiving, like family Thanksgiving dinner, where we're all coming together, and some are cooking the turkey, some are cutting potatoes, and some are, hey, buddy. He's so cute. It's pretty fast. So family Thanksgiving dinner, where someone's cooking turkey, someone's cutting potatoes, somebody's baking dessert, someone's running after children. And it might not be your greatest passion to cut potatoes and peel potatoes and mash the potatoes and season them and bake the potatoes, but because you love your family, that's why you do it. And so when we get to that mindset that it's just a job, we want to ask the Lord to change our heart, change my heart back to seeing that this is about family. This is me serving my family, and I want to take that focus off of myself and remember that what we're doing here is eternal. Because what I love most about what we do isn't what we do. Like, we're not just trying to be this cool new church on the block. But what I love most is that it's not just about these services, but we're becoming more disciplined disciples of Jesus when we serve. That there is more going on than we realize, and we can see here in front of us. That I know that the Lord is working in you, and he's working in me, and to create these same habits of being diligent in what he's called us to do in whatever season of life that we're in, to create these same habits in other aspects of our life, whether that's spending time in the Word and consuming God's truth so that we can know him and love him more, and speaking God's love to our friends, to our coworkers, and not just sitting back and waiting for someone else to do it. And so that concept of family, that concept that what we're doing matters, what you do matters, and that this has an eternal impact. Amen? And with that, with family, I don't know about you guys, but I always love whenever we do have family Thanksgiving. Maybe this is different for other people, but I love always inviting people in and finding new people to come in, and maybe they're going to help me cook some, maybe they're going to help me decorate my house, but even just being a part and being with the family. And so I want to encourage you, as being on this team, to not just think of it as I'm doing my part, I'm serving, which is awesome, but maybe you have friends or people maybe that haven't connected much in the church, and that you see like they're kind of just coming in, coming out right after. Say, hey, you should serve with me on the AV team. Let's run cameras together and talk in our headsets. Just kidding. You're not supposed to talk in your headsets when you're on camera. And so just always be looking and kind of helping to recruit for this team and help build up this team and build up our little family amongst our big family. All right, so I want to move on. Everything we do is profoundly spiritual, which means we have grace when we make mistakes, but they should make us uncomfortable. Because we're humans, we will make mistakes. Perfection is not attainable for anyone, and I struggle with this a lot. I fight perfectionism every single day. But we must show grace for ourselves first when we make mistakes, and for others when they make mistakes. The way that we speak to each other during practice, during service, when crazy things happen, like today, and even after service, when we're trying to figure out what it was, we must show grace. But having grace doesn't mean that we ignore it, because God has grace for us, but he also wants us to change. He wants us to come out of whatever it is that we're struggling with. So whatever the mistake is, we don't want to make these mistakes. We must approach what we do with seriousness, with professionalism, and excellence. So mistakes should make us uncomfortable, and we should always want to do better next time, because there will always be an always. Because what we're doing, even things will always change. Eventually we will have a building and we'll have different equipment. There's always going to be I know I can do better. I can grow. I can become more excellent in what I'm doing. But we have to own our responsibilities and desire to do better the next time. So whether it's Annie's mic was still muted, or the camera is sitting on a bass player who's yawning, probably me, or you're looking at a worship leader who's not singing, or the slides are late with the lyrics, or Spotify's still playing during the countdown. These are mistakes that have to make us all uncomfortable and want to work together as a team to correct them. And so we want to have grace in that, knowing that these mistakes are going to happen. Let's work together to do better next time. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's kind of going off of our Coah value number 5. Excellence glorifies God and inspires people. We follow the example of Jesus, giving our very best. So we want to have excellence in everything we do. Is it possible to leave those lights up? We're gonna need them in a little bit. Are they all totally unplugged? Sorry, we'll still need them. We'll completely tear down about 1:45, 2 o'clock. Okay, so our next blank. Everyone has a strong, any guesses? Opinion, yes. I was thinking someone was going to say odor. Everyone has a strong opinion. So my challenge to you is to be open and to know that we are all working together. And especially in this new season of, I don't know everything. I don't know exactly the best way for us to do everything. And so that's why we have to work as a team, bringing our opinions to the table, but knowing, because everyone has a strong opinion, that we will be laying down our opinion at some point. So we much be open to change. Remember how we give grace for mistakes? I thought about that. I already had printed them, so whatever. So we have to be open to change because we have opinions, because, what we're doing, we always want to be getting better. Things are going to change all the time. So it could be 1 week, Charity said, hey, we want to do it this way. A few weeks later, that's not going to work. Let's do it a different way. And so we just have to be open to us all figuring out together how we do our production. And for this season, we want to have a unified idea, that really is the goal, is working together as a unified team. And we just want to be on the same page. And so we want to be open to change. Coah value number 9, change is our, anybody know the Coah values? Change is our tradition. Oh, Andrew knew it. We will be relevant, engaging our world as it is. The methods may change. The message never will. So I want to jump into just some practical things, and then we'll move on to going through each position. Responding to scheduling request is very important. I make this schedule a month or 2 sometimes in advance. So I understand when you have to cancel because you didn't even know you're going to be doing this. But being able to go ahead and confirm the days that you're 90% positive that you'll be there. And then if something comes up, being able to decline hopefully a week before. That'd be the goal. But when there's worst case scenarios, emergencies, if you're able to say something by Thursday, and that's still with that family mindset of when you cancel, that means someone else is now changing their plans to be able to be there early or not. Maybe the other people are serving in other places in the church. And so rather than just leaving a request and just ignoring it for a while because you weren't sure, I'd rather you decline. I'd rather you confirm. But rather than me just waiting, because if you're on this schedule and you just haven't confirmed, I'm assuming you're going to be there. And so if you're not going to be there, obviously, like I texted Jason this week, even though he had confirmed, but I was like, are you going to be there? And I was like, well, you did confirm. I'm sorry. Okay, next line. Arriving on time shows respect for others. And opposite, it shows disrespect when you do not arrive on time. Because we are a team, we want to come together. Were you going to say something? Yeah, arriving on time shows respect for others. Yeah. Yeah, really just, when it's a few minutes, like we understand that. Like life happens, traffic happens. We don't want people to get a speeding ticket on the way here. But I'm talking, 20 minutes late, an hour late, not showing up at all. Those kind of things, especially when they are reoccurring. Of course, we have grace, but just know that you're going to get a conversation, phone call. Hi, Jorge. And so we are changing how we're scheduling for setup. And Scranton is the only one that's noticed this yet. Hey, can Justin and Molly, can y'all come up here too? And Thomas, are you joining us too? Do you have notes? You can take these if you want. So we're changing how we're doing our scheduling for those that are setting up. Right now we've just had, 10, 12 people set up, but sometimes people don't know these specific things. So we don't want every single week for you to think, man, if I'm serving, that means every time 7 to 1. If you can do that, absolutely, we'd love that. So many of us are doing that. But if you know, like, I have to have lunch with this person afterward, or I have this crazy thing going on Saturday night, and I know I'm going to be up real late, we're going to schedule specifically for, if you're going to set up media, you'll be scheduled to set up media. Schedule for projectors, schedule for lights, schedule to set up sound, and then same thing, scheduled to tear up, or to pack up. That's what I put. Pack up sound, pack up cameras, pack up video. And that way, say you're serving and it's assumed by everyone else, like you're serving here, and what it has been is assume that for you to pick up your station, and if you have to leave, like I understand that, but we just want to have it more in a process so that if you have to leave, someone else is already scheduled to do that part for you. And of course, if something comes up, just communicating with someone or even asking someone else, hey, I have to go, do you mind also tearing down my stuff? So that's just another, we want to be a team and not just throw that burden on, the same 4 or 5 people that are doing it every week. Just to remind you that, like, we're all volunteers, but we all have to have that same mentality of a family, that we're working together, and when some are struggling, we want to help carry that weight, but they can't carry that weight for forever. Does that make sense? And so the schedule is just the way to help alleviate those that might be here every time. So yeah. Yeah, if you have to decline, worst case, maybe a couple days out so that we can put someone else, especially for the setup tear down for those. So yeah, once we're here, we need a sense of urgency once we arrive so that we can be in place by, Molly, 8:30, and rehearsal by 9:30 for run-through. And so today, we thought we were doing real good, but we weren't set up until 9, and then we weren't able to run-through till about 9:45, yeah. And so this isn't just something for the band, because obviously the band's practicing, we got to get together. But this is something, if all of us have this sense of urgency all the way up until we start that band practice, like that's us all working together rather than a few of us acting like chickens with our head cut off. Does that make sense? Cool. And so dress code, because we don't have stagehands doing all this stuff, and we're kind of in a more lit environment here. We don't need it. Yeah, it's pretty lit. The main thing is we just want to look like we didn't just wake up. And so just be open that if there's ever a question about that, if you can just be open to whatever that is. And so that means looking like you actually wanted to come to serve and came prepared to do that day. Does that make sense? But one specific thing, if you are running cameras, we want to have no shorts or shirts, or please wear shirts. No shorts or short dresses. I think that's what I meant to put. Because you're elevated, even if you're wearing shorts, never know. So if you're on cameras, pants or long dress. And then just a couple more things just before we jump into doing positions. For whatever, if you're new to the team, or if you're new to a position, our shadowing process, we really want to keep that in place where, I know even just in this first year of being a church plant, it's kind of, hey, Madison, tomorrow, can you serve here? I've never done it before, but I believe in you. Things like that might have to happen in circumstances, but hopefully we're getting away from that and having enough people to serve. But the process should be, first time, you're watching somebody else do it. The second time, they're watching you do it with them, and then you're good on your own if you feel good and confident on your own. So just know that we will have leaders over each position so that you can be able to follow and learn from them, which is awesome because I can't do everything. Even though I want to, and I believe that I can sometimes, I can't. And so I have to be able to give Scranum, you got this. You can take this. And so I really appreciate you guys, our leaders here that have stepped up to really help us now moving forward to train and help anybody new for positions. And so I just want to read these couple scriptures, Ephesians 6, 7, 9. Serve wholeheartedly as if you are serving the Lord, not people, because you know that the Lord will reward each one of you for whatever good they do, whether they are slave or free. Colossians 3, 23, 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. So again, we just want to have that same mindset of what we're doing is important, and what we're doing is eternal. And the same excellence and diligence that we bring to our job or even to our hobbies, to these things that we love, we want to bring that in here and to be faithful to the Lord in whatever we do, to do it with all our heart. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, we're going to jump into each of our positions. We're going to start with camera tech. And so we've made a few videos as a church and I've done it with our setup and then with showing how to do it. And go ahead and hold off on it for a minute. It's funny that it's up there, but it's not up there. The lyrics are on top of it, but maybe that won't show up there. If you hit clear slides at the top left. I just see it here. Second. It's right here. But first I'm going to show just a video of another church and just their quick tutorial showing different camera shots. So whenever you're good, yeah, you can play that one. If you hit clear slides at the top left, it says slides and there's an X. You'll learn that very soon.
Move on to tips for picking your shots. So in your notes, you'll see close up. We already kind of went over that. So let's move on to waist up, also called a medium shot sometimes. This shot is most effective for worship leaders who play guitar and is common for speakers, kind of the belt line and up. Framing a worship leader with a guitar in the shot adds action and allows you to zoom from a medium to a close-up shot. And the reason we do these zoom ins and zoom outs is to add energy. It's just all adding together with the lights, with the music. It's just to add energy and make it kind of feel like it's all one, it's all together. Head to toe shot. This shot is great in conjunction with the close-up shot. It frames a worship leader with their head at the top of the frame and their feet at the bottom of the frame. Can sometimes get two worship leaders in one shot. Showing two worship leaders in one shot is good for if one singer is singing harmony and one singing melody, and you can hear both voices, and so you want to be able to see both people. That's also called a two-subject shot. There's also three subject shots. That's just really 2, 3, 4, whatever the number is. It's showing that many singers or that many people in that shot. This allows you to start from like a 2 or 3 shot, and you can zoom in to one person. Be sure to take notice of the framing of the singers while zooming. Appropriate, head room, your nose room, whatever you're doing. Just be aware of that as you're zooming into that. As you're doing this, you want to move smoothly. If you're going from like a 2-shot to one person, you want to move smoothly and not have any jerky movements, or you always avoid shakiness and jerkiness. Moving on to common shots, there are instrument shots, which are just a close-up of just the hands on the instrument. Wide shot would include maybe the musician's face. Side view of singers, close-up is usually a face only. A wide shot, you can get 4 singers, 5 singers, whoever's up at the front of the stage. Keep in mind headroom and nose room and rule of thirds on that. Slow zoom ins, slow zoom outs, we already went over that. And a side to side pan, left to right, right to left, we kind of went over that already. That works really good with close up and waist up shots. And it can work with wide shots too. Always be looking for creative shots and moments. That's if haven't been told by the video director to go to a shot, be looking for something that can aid the video director. This will become more natural the more you run a camera, and you'll kind of get more used to what looks good and what looks bad. Example of a creative shot would be bringing ceiling mounted lights out of focus and letting the director overlay the blurred lights onto a shot of the singer. This type of shot is called an overlay. Example of moment shot, speaker saying a joke, zoom the camera out to see the crowd when the people laugh. Do a slow pan of the crowd. It's called a crowd shot. Another example of a creative shot would be when you're blurred on those ceiling mounted lights, it'd be slowly panning down to the singer's face and bringing them into focus.
Cool. And just to say again, for every position, even though you might not ever run a camera, we want everyone on the team to be ready if they need to step in at any point. And so what we're doing right now, I'm just showing y'all the very basics, and specifically for cameras and videos, since this is brand new for us, just so everyone is on the same page. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, so you can go ahead and do that next video. I just realized I can control it.
When it comes to the editing portion, or the video actual recording that we do on Sunday mornings, the main thing that I'm going to emphasize on when it comes to working with this is to be open to communication, because there will be things that the video director is going to tell you that you may not see the same way. Be open to what they have to say, because they have an idea. And if you have an idea, I usually recommend mentioning it before service starts, when y'all discuss the game plan for the morning. So like when there's rehearsal, he'll have a game plan that's set. That would be the time you want to mention an idea to see if you can integrate it in there. But overall, follow the instruction of your director, because he has an idea of what's going on.
Or she.
And then when it comes to removing the camera pieces, I'm going to set this down here as if this is plugged in. There we go. All right, so when it comes to moving the camera, usually myself, you have your zoom pieces here that you work with. I usually I don't press really hard at the beginning of your pieces when you're actually moving around. I kind of ease it in until you see that it starts moving a little bit, and then go at the speed that you think is appropriate. You're never going to do a jerk in and out really fast, because you're just not motion sickness, namely me. But that's, you want to just kind of ease it in there. The same thing with your movements. I usually just put just enough pressure for it to move in, kind of relatively slow like that. Because the only time that you should ever have to move fast is when you're not being focused on the actual on the actual projector, like when your camera's not being shown. That's the time you want to move fast and set up for your next shot. But that's the only time you should ever go fast. No one should ever see it when actually they're looking at it on the stage, like during a service kind of thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else past that. I'm trying to think if there's any ideas that you have during the service, wait until afterwards. Unless it's something that is pressing, that it might be a way to make something look better than it is at the moment. That is a fix. Don't let it be a recommendation for something to make it better in the middle of the sermon. Let it happen afterwards, because we can integrate it into the next idea when the producer looks at it again or goes over it again and everything else from there. But aside from that, that's about it. Like I said, it's nice, easy, it's fun, doesn't require a lot of communication. If you have questions, keep it short. don't do anything else. There's one thing I do want to mention though. On this side here, there is a filter. Okay, this right here. In the event that you have the camera set up, make sure this little piece is showing at 1/4. Because what happens is if you pick this up, it gets really, really bright. And if you bring this down, it gets really, really dark. And it's really hard to see at the very beginning of it. So make sure this is at 1/4. If any further adjustments need to be done for the brightness, this little knob right down here, you can adjust your brightness from that. And then if you ever need to make something blurry or more focused, these two pieces, this piece right here, not the inner ring, but the outer ring is what adjusts your focus. Okay, make it blurry or non-blurry kind of thing. All right? And then, of course, your power button will be right up here. So you'll just push this down on the green and then pump it over to the side for power. And then right before service starts, the last thing you're gonna wanna do, is over here for you to see, is hit that button right there. And if you forget that this button is here, you got one right there on your little handle, so you can't miss it. Yeah, you have 2 different chances you can hit it right. And that always happens right before we start worship. And then when service is over, you just hit that button again. That's all you have to do. Turn the camera off, and then back up and you're good to go.
Awesome.
Kill it.
Thanks, Justin. That was great. Okay, cool. So yeah, Camera Tech runs a camera during the Sunday service. This allows people to connect with the worship leader, and the pastor also gives us the opportunity to stream online so that people from all over the world can watch. If you're sort of a shy person, this job is perfect for you. No talking required. We say that because most of the talking should be coming from the video director, and the video director hopefully asking questions that don't require a verbal response, but just action response. And so that was just kind of that quick run through. And obviously with camera, a lot of that is just going to be practice and getting there. Jason.
So the people running cameras probably shouldn't talk.
Yes. No talking required. And because we're so close to that last row of chairs, just be ready if you're the video director and if you have to talk to the camera people, just to be ready. Like if someone comes by and tells you to be quiet, don't take that as rude. Like most of the time, because you have a headset on, you don't know how loud you're talking. And so yeah, they should be the only one, but still should be quiet. So hopefully you can turn that volume up in your camera ears. And I just remembered that I can control ProPresenter with my phone. So we're gonna do video director. Hopefully that worked. Okay, there you go.
All right, here is our video setup. So as you can see,
That's awesome.
camera
Because
one,
it's a green
camera
screen.
two.
That's so cool.
This is camera 1 over there. Camera 2 is over there, or sometimes we might move it over to the center. And then this is our slide. And so with a green screen,
That's so
on the
cool.
sides and the camera in the back. So, John Green, tell me how any of this works.
So this is our switching device, and this allows us to switch between camera 1, camera 2, and also the green screen. The red button is the active camera.
Okay.
So if we were to say want to switch from camera 2, which is currently active, to specifically the green screen, we could press the button 3.
Because this is HDMI 3?
Exactly.
Okay.
And this tells us what it's going to switch to whenever we change the slider. And we move the slider down, and it becomes active. And as you can see on the screen, it is the active screen.
Okay.
Normally we wouldn't switch to slider 3 or screen 3, obviously. We normally just go back and import the 1 and 2.
Because we want the camera
Because
to
we
be the
want the
background.
cameras, exactly.
Unless we were doing an actual slide. And so we would hit
I want to remind y'all that
right down here.
we will be
What
using
I've-
this training
what I've learned
in about 30
is
minutes.
when
So
we're doing the,
I hope you're paying attention.
The overlay, the lyrics, it's best to have this actually tells us, this is how we control the overlay, this button, I forget what it stands
And
for.
this
but
is the overlay.
This is the slider, this switches back and forth.
The overlay is the lyrics or the sermon notes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So whenever we have something like when, say when Hadley's doing announcements and we want to have like one of these screens up and then switch back and forth to Hadley,
Right.
I normally just typically turn off the overlay and then turn it back on as necessary.
Okay.
It's easier than trying to manage the slider
So
because
let's
it's just a
pretend we're
single
doing
button
that.
switch.
So right here we have an overlay slide, which is the green screen, overlaying with that.
Exactly.
So you just turned it, so it's on right now, which means that red button is
Correct.
pressed.
And say Hadley walks up onto the stage.
Press the button to make it just be him.
Exactly. So
And then if we have an actual slide that's next,
Hadley's talking.
he's still talking a little
Talking
bit.
about this is what he's talking about.
And you just press that
I
button
usually
to make
leave
it
for
come
5 or
in.
10 seconds and then turn it right back on.
Great.
And whenever we come back to a song, we just turn it back on and the lyrics appear.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so some of that, we also want to think about what's going on Facebook Live. because even though maybe here in service, yeah, we can just see whatever slides are going. But if someone's talking, maybe it's Annie doing announcements, maybe it's Pastor Hallie doing announcements or a sermon, we don't want to just stay on that slide the whole time. People on Facebook have no idea who's on the stage talking, so we want to always have that in mind.
5 or 10 seconds, that's it. No
Great.
more. Yeah.
All right, so we're here on Facebook and we are logged in as Charity. We went to City on a Hill, we clicked on live.
And you'll usually see this.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
You're on screen.
You want to switch over to Connect. I know it's horrifying.
That was your 15 seconds.
Yeah, right? And
So what do we
usually
do?
wait a second and it should pop up. If it doesn't, then you switch back to OBS and just restart the stream. And it should reconnect. There we go.
So you want it to be on Connect.
Correct.
And that's what's showing over there. It's a little delayed.
This is delayed, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's why I usually monitor it from OBS because this is where it's going.
Great. And so it's got it. So it's
It's ready to go.
streaming, but we're not live yet.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so it has to be connected. So this is great. You can do this before 10:30.
Exactly, yeah.
And then
You have this ready to go, and
do you go ahead and type that in?
I might even still have it, yeah.
Cool.
I usually copy it so I can just paste it. And now we're ready, and once it's time to go, you just click go live.
Great.
And like I said, I usually switch back to OBS and monitor everything. Oh, and the SD card, when it's time to start the service,
So super.
yeah, start recording.
So you start
That
recording and you stream.
Yep.
So say it's 3 minutes before service starts, make sure Facebook's good, and you want to be ready, and all you're going to do is hit start recording and then go to Facebook and go live.
Right.
Awesome. How are you switching between screens here just to do that?
Command tab.
Command tab.
Awesome. Okay, so video director directs all camera shots, operates the video switcher for the Sunday service and Facebook live stream. They do arrive early for rehearsal to plan the camera shots and flow of the service. And this is a really fun job because you kind of are literally directing everything that people see. But it requires focus, attention, detail, dedication, and leadership. And so, yeah, I'll just tell you. So after this, we're each going to go to each position, and we just have a quick proficiency test for each position. And it'll be kind of like speed dating to see which position you like. And it's just to be proficient at each, just in the very, very basics. It's going to be so much fun. All right, let's move on to media. Here, I'll start it over.
Looking at your service script. So as you're set up, you want to be looking at your service script. And this is, we have a new one for every single Sunday. If you don't have one here, you can always ask Pastor Andrew, but most likely they're in the laptop suitcase. And so all of the things that are here should line up and match with all of the things right here. One of your jobs in the morning is just to make sure that everything's in there. Make sure that the slide that it says it is what it is. And so you can just go through. For this first one, which is loop slides, this is for pre-service. And right here where it says media, this is specific to what you're doing, and this is sound. So the loop slides are rotating. And so each one of these has a timer on it, so it will automatically rotate through. Second one is countdown, and this has audio to it. So you want to always make sure that your volume is up all the way, and that the laptop volume is up all the way. But know that before service, the pre-service, the Spotify playlist is playing, and so you are playing the Spotify playlist, which is right here.
Wow,
You open Spotify, and you've got two playlists right here. Song lyrics. You have to click this green first slide before you click anything else. If you don't, the lyrics will go on top of whatever slide you had before. So if you were in the loop slides, and then you went to one of these, it would just go on top of it. We don't want that. So you click the green screen first, and the first and last slide of every song has the credits. And so the key for lyrics for worship is as soon as they sing the very last word, as soon as they start to sing it, you're going to the next. So remember that as the lyric leader, you are leading worship with what you're doing. And so, and really the point in that is, if people don't know the next words, then they might just end up giving up singing. And so you want to be ahead of everybody, not following. And so there is good news. And then if this is a little too small, you can always go down here and make it bigger. You make it as big as you want, and then sometimes you might need to go back and click that again to find where you are. And then you can always just make it smaller again if you want.
And if y'all haven't noticed, the reason it's see-through is because that is the green screen. So it's like a lime green
Jesus
color,
is Savior for our sins.
in case that's
All who
confusing at all.
believe and call on Him. So you can click, or you can just use these arrows. But what's great is all of this is loaded before Sunday. So all you're doing is coming in and hitting the arrows and going to the next thing. But you always just want to be ready, especially during practice, if anything is different or changes than what's on here. You want to be able to adjust that. And so the way to edit the arrangement of any song is right here. I like to call this the family tree icon. And this is the actual arrangement. So the gray on the top is just the basis of, it has at least an intro, verse 2. Nothing is repeated here. And then in here, we put exactly what we're doing. So like we do another chorus again. We do 2 things of O's. We do this again. We do this again. And so Andrew puts that out for how we're doing the song. If at any point during the song, he says, hey, we're gonna add another chorus at the very end, a soft chorus to make it all tie together. So you would go up here and just drag that chorus and drag it there to the end. Or if he says, hey, we were gonna do a chorus at the end, but we decided not to. You just go here and exit out. To make that go away, you click this, and it come up again, you click it. And if you only see this gray and you don't see anything down here, perhaps the arrangement hasn't been chosen. Sometimes when you start and restart per presenter, it might not be. So most of the time we call them Coah. Sometimes it might be the Passion version, Coah A's version, short version. So if it was just the master, which is just the basis, that's what it would look like. Say selection arrangement. So if you're ever doing lyrics during practice and you realize, they're doing a lot of things differently, go ahead and go to arrangement and make sure the Coah arrangement is chosen, or just ask Andrew if there's a certain arrangement he wants. Right here, when you get to offering and announcements, and then there's a bumper video, we've been adding the bumper video into the same mix as announcements. So you can see that on here when you have announcements. Click. These are all the slides that Pastor Hadley or whoever's doing those announcements will go through. And you'll just follow along as he's saying, and the next thing, and the next thing, and then you'll play this video. So something you want to check every time when you're testing a video, you always want to make sure Spotify is muted. Let's start that over. Every time before starting a video, you want to coordinate with the person who is on sound to make sure the sound is up before you start the video. When we get to the sermon notes, it'll all be much smaller there at the bottom, and so for sermon notes you probably always want to make it bigger. And then you gotta click on this again.
Cool. All right, so media obviously runs the lyrics for the main service, main screens during worship, also sermon. Scripture notes, arrives early with the band and to practice with the band and video director. Because the media and video director really are working hand in hand, especially when slides go up, what is actually being shown or not. So listening to the songs beforehand and having a good sense of rhythm helps if you love worship music. This is a great job for you. Okay, we have a couple more, and then I have some examples from our services, and it's so that we can see, after looking at all these things, like what are things maybe we could have done better, or things that we've done really well. All right, so let's go and play the lights one.
So for any future light techs,
Jason.
we are going to go through this tutorial in simulations. And so everything is labeled and very easy to use. Here we have LED, and that's going to be the brightness of the colored lights. Here we have our colored lights, red, green, and blue. And here we have our spotlight, which will be on the speaker or the band. And this intensifies and brightens that. And so everything is just a bunch of slide nozzles that you just slide up to intensify, bring down to stop. Being a light tech is all about feeling the flow of the band and the music and adjusting to what they're doing. When a band starts off quiet and at the beginning and they're building, you would of course have the lights low, the LED kind of low, and the spotlight kind of low. But as the band gets louder and louder, you want to start to slowly intensify the lights and brighten them until they get to their loudest point or their biggest, or the climax, so to say. And that's when the lights are the brightest, and you're kind of painting a picture for the band that they can't do through the visual light. Being a light tech is also about being creative as well. And so as the band is playing through their song, you're more than welcome to change out and flip these nozzles, the color nozzles, to make any color you'd like, to add to the atmosphere of the song. And then on a high part or a part that's high energy, you can maybe even continuously alternate quickly to add more effect to the atmosphere of the room. That's a pretty quick tutorial about how to change as the band goes. But quick things to note is when the band is transitioning to get off the stage or a video is being played, you'll simply bring the LED light down and the spotlight down together. And then when a speaker is speaking, such as Hadley or a guest speaker, you want everything to be on the white line.
And we actually want it above the white line. We just decided. We want to be open to change. Okay, cool. So yeah, the lights really need to be dependent on it. Like you can see what it looks like here in service, and maybe it looks like it's bright enough, but always look at what is streaming onto Facebook and see if that's kind of dim. And so I'd say just above that white line, but looking on there for one, if it's too dark, but also if everyone's faces are kind of blurred out and kind of white because it's too bright. And so go make it be kind of that team mentality of, hey, do you think it needs to be bright or not? Cool. So yeah, they run the light board during the Sunday service, arrives early for rehearsal with the band, make sure the lights are in the right positions too. And so if you're watching the full video, if you're going to be running lights, there's more for setup and how to set up these and make sure that they don't look like that. And to make sure these are all good. It's important to listen to the songs beforehand so that you're familiar with the dynamics. Like, I don't know if y'all noticed today, I think it turned out awesome, even though it was something weird happened. But during practice, during a part where we all dropped down, I said, hey, bring the lights down here. And then 6 seconds, bring them back up. And then this awesome strobe. It was so cool. Okay, last one. We're going to do sound right now. Yes.
All right, this is our soundboard.
It's not the soundboard. It's a picture of the soundboard.
In this video is just show you the very, very basics. And most of the time, the only person touching the soundboard should be our sound tech, those that are trained to run the board. But in the instance of needing to maybe unmute someone's microphone or unmute Spotify, things like that, I just want to show you. All right, so on this side right here, these are our groups of channels. Over here, these are all of the channels. There are 32 channels, and when you click this button here, this button shows you channels 1 through 16. So there's 16 right here. And then if you click this button here, it's going to show you 17 through 32. Over here, we have groups. I just put the only ones you'll really need to know. This here is our mains, which is the main 2 speakers. So if you turn that fader down, you will still hear the subs, which is the lowest, the bass. right here, our fourth channel over, that's vocals. This is playback. Playback is Spotify, any videos, pretty much anything that we're getting audio from.
And vocals is actually called backing.
This
Is that right?
all of the band. So that's all the instruments minus the vocals. All right, so one of the main things here where the red icons are, this is the mute button for each group over here. So if we need Spotify muted, you would hit that red button. If you just want to turn Spotify down, this would be unmuted, and you would just turn the fader down a little bit. If the vocals need to be unmuted, you would unmute it and make it not be red if they need to be turned up or down. So over here, just the only specific channels I want to point out are just the microphones. We have 3 mics, Andrew, Charity, and Yellow, so that's whoever else is singing. Or perhaps it could be Annie or someone doing announcements. So these 3 channels, 22, 23, 24. So in order to get to those, you'll have to choose this second row. And you will either unmute them or mute them, depending on whatever is needed. So say I'm trying to start band practice and my mic is muted, I'll yell to back, hey, do you mind unmuting my microphone, please? Say you unmute it
Please.
and turn the fader up a little bit, and yet it's still muted. That's when you would then go over to the group of vocals and see, is the entire group muted? So you'd unmute that and turn up that fader a little bit. So I hope that makes sense. The only thing I'm also thinking over here, to be able to view these groups, this is just in case you don't see vocals, playback, band, you would want to select that first button there. All right,
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, Sound Tech runs the soundboard during the start of the service for the worship center and for the Facebook live stream. So they are doing many things. And so if you are wanting to run sound and add that to your repertoire, then they'll be training for that. They arrive early for rehearsal with the band, and if you like music and have a good ear, this could be the right fit for you. And then setup sets the tone for the day, and I really want everyone to be a part of the setup team, so it could be setting up for your specific position, and being able to do that at least once a month, and if you're just serving once a month, just trying to be able to share that. And it's a great way to build relationships as you serve alongside your church family, to create an atmosphere for our Sunday gatherings. And so what I want to do is play just a couple videos just for you, after kind of looking through, all right, here's kind of the standard of what we're looking for as we watch these little clips that I just took from Facebook Live, trying to see what maybe we could have done better or what we did well. All right, so this first one, and of course, if any of y'all were serving when these things happened, I am not trying to parade your mistakes. I have grace for them. But because all of this is new, it's good for us to be able to see what we could do better rather than just thinking that we've all got it. And so this one specifically, right when it starts, this was the beginning of the Facebook Live. So it started like about 20 seconds into the service. And it's supposed to start while the countdown is still going.
We sing.
So notice, I am not singing. I'm sitting here tuning my bass. So this would be a great opportunity for the video director to be looking at their order of service and see, oh, or to be in practice, Andrew's leading this song, even though it kind of looked like I was going to sing.
Jesus the Savior for our sins.
And we kind of sit on Andrew for a minute, which is good to kind of set up that song.
Shall be saved.
And there's kind of that slight slow zoom, but at the same time, if we're just sitting on one shot, we don't need to be touching it. You see these kind of little jerks? specifically for our first song, we want to be able to be moving in and out as the most beautiful slow zoom. And that was beautiful. Go and do another shot right at a dynamic change of the song. But if there's that slight zooming in, zooming out, panning over. Oh, and we had a friend there at the bottom, kind of looking around too as a camera person, seeing somebody's walking. We should go to the next camera. And see how when they shifted to Andrew, like we don't want to see camera shifts. That camera shift should happen when you're not live on screen. Does that make sense? So the video director is only on shots that are ready to go. Okay, let's go to the next one. Sorry, I'll click it in. Just stay it up there. That's fine. Yeah, my volume's, yeah, there we go.
Good morning, City on the Hill. My name is Annie.
So that slide doesn't need to be up right now. We want to see Annie first.
I love that song. I had to make
And y'all can
myself
see it's
not
pretty
jump
dim,
this time
so we
I
want
didn't
to
come
make
out
sure
here
we're
and
brighter
not
so we can see it all the time.
That was embarrassing. So, how are you guys doing this morning? Good? Are you happy to be in church? Awesome. We're happy to have you here. If you're a first-time guest, we have these connection cards underneath your seat. If you don't mind filling
Perfect.
that out
So
for us,
that's
there's
the time
a
for
pen in
that
there as
slide to
well.
go up.
We just want to get
All right, I'll go to the
know
next
who you
one.
are.
Oh, this is bad. So obviously the band messed up. And with that, if anyone makes mistakes, we want to rally around and try to make it as least awkward as possible. And yet, Annie's microphone was muted on the Mevo, or dang, it's not Mevo, on the Facebook Live. And that slide showed up as the first thing. So that, I'd say that was one of the most awkward transitions we've had so far. So church is great. All right, here, last one. And this is a awesome example of Justin Chapman trying to find that unique time. I know when he's doing it. I want to get right in there, get that guitar during that solo. But then being ready so you're not looking at my shirt. So that, I think, could have been maybe a video director help. That as soon, yeah, that's great. We got that cool shot with the electric guitar. The other camera needs to be ready. And we need to know the song and know when it's over so we can not have someone, when we're zoomed in, walk in front. Cool? Yes. Yeah, we're advertising. Okay, so that was just kind of this brief overview of every position and showing a few just examples. And so what I want to do now, go to the very last page. It's stapled. You can take that out and put that to the front of your clipboard. And go ahead and have our leaders. Justin is going to be over on camera. You could be on there, that middle one. I didn't put your name on there. Just put position for video director is John Green. His number, I'm sure that's his number. And then Molly is going to be over our media. Justin Scranum on sound. Jason on lights. So if y'all want to go and get in your positions and look through your proficiency test. So what we're going to do is just each person, you're going to go through each one. So you will have your proficiency test at the front of your clipboard. And you're just going to hand your clipboard to that position leader. And they'll just go through these. And you'll be able to sit down and actually be in the position and be able to see it all for yourself and be able to know. And of course, if you don't know where something is, they're going to show you. Right, Molly? Yeah. Cool? Sounds fun? So yeah, y'all can go ahead and go and just pick one and just make sure you get all 5 of them. And this should go pretty quick. But then as soon as you've done all of them, and once we're almost getting through with everybody, if everyone can help just finish our teardown once we're all good. Cool? Awesome.